Hello, this is Annette with Project Refine Life. Welcome to my channel and the September 2024 monthly wrap-up. In this video, I'm going to share with you a trip through my journal, a look at my month, and the favorite deck pairings that I've had this month. So first of all, September 2024 brought in a brand new coffee and wine bar very close to where we live. I was so excited to be there. It's called Garage East. It has the most wonderful breakfast wine. That's right, you heard that. Breakfast wine I've ever had. This breakfast wine was so good. I just got a little bit of a taste. We were there for the coffee because Garage East had wine before, and then they added in the coffee element, which is just wonderful to me. Another thing that we went and visited was Jarrod's Coffee in Mesa, Arizona. Now, this place is extremely haunted. I walked in and I could feel all kinds of things, actually, before we even walked in. And you know what? They've painted the place to fit the vibe. It is filled with local artist art, jewelry that's been created by local artists, a lot of crystals, and then of course coffee and music. So how could you go wrong with all of that? You've got spirits and coffee and art and crystals and even a labyrinth in the back. Wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and take a look at my journal. I'm just going to walk you through the journal, and then after that we're going to take a look at my favorite deck pairings. I started off September, if you've seen my other videos, and in August it was really a godsend for me to have a challenge, a yoga challenge, for me to be in practice every day and to be accountable. Now, as you can see here for my September challenge, I did not complete my September challenge. I did it for the most part, but I didn't complete it. So I guess, I just have to be okay with that. At one point I was looking at it thinking, oh man, you're not you're not completing your challenge, Annette. But I have to be okay with that. And I'm looking at the month and it's like I did it for the most part. So, I got to give myself credit where credit is due. I always keep track of the decks that I use, anything that I'm using for the moon or any special occasions, anything that's new. If you're interested in the new books or decks that I received within the month of September, there's a separate video for that. I always have on hand the calendar that associates with the Gregorian calendar for Mayan cosmology and the meaning of the day. I always start off my month with a Mayan goddess or god, one of the two. It was my husband's birthday. So, first day of September, walked into it with a birthday, and that is the day that we went to Garage East. And it was really good. We also went to a place right next to it called Joe's Farm Grill, and we got their chicken and waffles. Let me tell you, their chicken and waffles, they're really good. I'm very picky about my chicken and waffles. I like Roscoe's in LA on Sunset, but Joe's is different. Joe's Farm Grill is different and really good. And then in addition to that, we got like a appetizer tray of french fries and zucchini and onion rings, and it was so good. So this is just a little collage of things that we did throughout the day. And stepping into my tarot practice. The month prior to this, I had paired up the Sesarabito and the Morning Calm, and I really like that combination together. All right, stepping into the next day, we're hit right away with the new moon in Virgo. So here's my ritual that I did. Here is my yoga and meditation that I came up with for my classes and also for myself. And then here was my tarot spread. My tarot spreads, I've usually lately been getting from the Substack of the creator of Be With Your Body Tarot. I love the way that she explains the astrological forecast. It's simple to understand. It's just enough. It's not overwhelming. It's just enough. And so this is the deck that I used here. And then this was my baby's 18th birthday. She's in Washington, D.C. So we entered a new trecena, and this is my journaling when it comes to that. coming into the month using the Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic along with the Poesis. I really, really like that combination. Spoiler alert, one of my favorites, but I'll show you the decks together in just a moment. And just working through this month, you're always going to see at this point, I never used to do this before. And when I started doing this a few months back, I really enjoyed putting in the yoga sequences that I'm doing. So really enjoying this. Oh, this was a little reading that I did in regard to the Harris versus Trump presidential debate. And I've been just focused a lot on prana, on breath. And so that was a little thing all about that. I started reading a book called Incantations Embodied in the month of September. And I did a little cacao initiation, and this was just that on that day. I don't think I even pulled any cards. Okay, this, guys, this is incredible. So I'm sitting at my desk, and at my desk, I always say I live in a hallway because I can look like I can open up my front door and my neighbor's front door is right there. So it's kind of like sometimes we both walk out at the same time. We're like, oh, hi neighbor. But thankfully, I really like her and I like her pets too. So I get the best of both worlds because I get to play with her cats and give some love to her dog, and it's nice. But anyhow, when I'm looking out my window here at my desk, I can look right up at her rooftop. And the other day, there's usually a lot of pigeons and mourning doves, but not the other day, but on the 12th of September. I look out and there is a beautiful, beautiful kestrel. This bird is of the falcon family, and it was just so beautiful. I just could not take my eyes off of it. I mean, I sit here a lot and I look at a lot of birds as they're sitting out there on her porch or on top of my little porch that slants out in front of me. And I've never seen a kestrel out here. I know that they are within our region. I know that they're here, but I've never seen one. And it was just beautiful. So I really took that to heart. I looked up some information about the bird, really understood the meaning, the significance of the kestrel. This is before I went to class. So I quickly created a kestrel flow based on the energy of the bird. And so here it is. And I walked into my class. I don't know how I got all that done within that amount of time, but I walked into class with a newly inspired flow and a playlist to go along with it. And we were entering into eclipse season. So I just felt really inspired on that day. It was so good. So good. And then this is Friday the 13th. We stepped into that, and I found on Instagram, and I can't remember which platform it was. I can't remember the name of the account, but they had all these wonderful images and talking about Friday the 13th. So I just kind of copied what they had there and printed it out and put it into my journal because I really just love the information that they gave, because there's all these, like the Friday the 13th movies and that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to share a little bit about what this if I can find the link, I'm going to include it, but it was a really great post. There are 13 moon cycles each year. And for those who bleed, it happens 13 times annually. The 13th day in the cycle aligns with ovulation, symbolizing the power of creation. The moon moves roughly 13 degrees each day in its cycle. There are 13 weeks between the equinox and the solstice. In the Mayan sacred calendar, 13 represents wholeness, completion, and the wisdom of the ancestors. Mary Magdalene is revered as the 13th apostle. The Lakota people hold ceremonies aligned with the moon, acknowledging the 13 cycles in a year as part of the sacred rhythm of life. This day is all about embracing the magic within and reclaiming your sacred and ancestral power. I just love that. And then it just provided one more little excuse to have myself a private little cacao ceremony. So I went ahead and just went with the energy of this particular post that I saw, which was amazing. I really, really was inspired by that too. Okay, coming into the 14th of September, working with that energy and working with Be With Your Body Tarot. I really love that. I had an early Saturday morning class here I had two classes this day. So I created a little morning wake up flow. And 13th of May, another, again, because I'm working with the energy of the Mayan cosmology every day. That's my main focus, is what's going on within the Mayan cosmology. And then I kind of look at how to work with that energy. So this is that information from that day. And then again, another new trecena. Trecena is 13. So every 13 days, just like the Friday the 13th posting goes into. Again, I'm really trying to get out of the habit of just doing this kind of thing, but sometimes that's all I have time for. But this, I was able to cut a few things up, and I tried now to cut things up in advance so that way I can just kind of quickly, design a little page here. And that's been working pretty well. I really like that. And then also here, we're at the full moon or the full harvest super moon with the partial lunar eclipse. Again, a very important day, even within the Aztec and Mayan culture. The idea is really not to go out and try to look at it. The idea is to kind of stay inside, meditate. So I really took that, and of course we couldn't even see it from this side of the world. So I did watch it on the internet, and again, just working with the energy of that day to create ritual and to create a flow for my classes and for myself. And here we are with a little tarot spread all about it. I got to do something really fun this month. I was invited to go to ASU and teach a class for one of the, what are they called? I should know. One of the clubs. Here we go. I was invited to go and teach for one of the clubs. The club is called ASU Charge. And it's all about finding ways to continue with movement, to be charged up within your body and everything. What a wonderful group of young leaders. I was really impressed with their enthusiasm, with their excitement to be on their mat, how welcoming they were. I was just really, really impressed with all of this. So, this is kind of my thoughts about being there and some of the pictures that they provided. It was a really neat experience. I really enjoy that. This is something out of the book, The 13 Original Clan Mothers, wonderful book. And then just pairing up things according to energy. All right, September 21st. Guys, this is a really hard day for me because this was or would have been my son Michael. It would have been his 37th birthday. And it's hard. So I did pull a couple of cards. This one I pulled on purpose, and I can't even remember why I did this on purpose, but this was on purpose. I wanted the turtle and the coriander, and I can't, I think it was to take it slow. And here it is, satisfaction. There we go. My mind has been awakened. There we go. Satisfaction, to understand the contentment and the satisfaction of having had this beautiful life with my son, to be given the opportunity to be his mom during that time. It was a true blessing. I kind of reflected even into having him, the experience of having him, and how long it took us to get to the hospital. My sister came and picked me up, and we drove in her little Volkswagen Bug that could not go on the freeway. And it took us a really long time. I was living in Boyle Heights at the time, and we had to go to Pasadena to the hospital, and it took us quite a while. My sister thought I was going to have the baby right there and then in her car. And it was, looking back, it's kind of funny. It was kind of interesting to me too during the time, because she kept looking at me like, don't have this baby in this car. Okay, we stepped into autumn equinox, and again, I just found all this beautiful artwork online. Pinterest is amazing. You find so much there. So I really just, again, inspired and created another flow. Now, when I create these flows, I do like to use them as inspiration, but I'm going to tell you right now, I never do exactly what's on the flow, but it's beautiful to have these things that are in my mind, like this idea of this flow, to have it in here and as a reference point. And then I have another book where I keep everything as well. But when I step on my mat, whatever's speaking to me at the moment, and it really depends what the energy is within the class, how I modify or change the flow. And I can never remember a flow. So if you walk in and think, oh my gosh, Annette, that class was amazing. Can we do that one again? No, we can't, because I won't remember it. I'll remember parts of it, but not all of it. And that's just kind of the way it goes. And again, enjoying working with a little bit more, things that I find online and adding those in to kind of highlight the season. I'm really trying hard to do that, as you can tell through my journal. And sometimes, like I said, it's just a matter of really working with the energy of the day, trying to document that and trying to keep it really simple. So there's no set pattern that I'm working with within the journal. It's just whatever is hitting at the moment. This was a specific meditation that I really wanted to do with my classes, so I did that. And I felt at this time like there was just a lot of pressure. So I wanted to work with shoulders a lot within my classes, so created a special flow for that. Just Breathe. Okay, now I started reading a book called Breathe by James Nestor. I'm not done with it yet. I've really been taking my time with this book, because as I'm reading through this book, I am going back to my breathing techniques and really working with it throughout that section of the book as well. These are not new techniques that he's talking about, but just to hear somebody describe them and working with them and how he was working with them and the way that he discovered them, or the introspection that he got from it, is really inspiring to me. So this is something out of his book. And I really, that was when you open the page, that's what you read. And it is just freaking beautiful. I really, really loved it. On this day, I did card reading, but I knew that this reading, it was going to affect somebody. And it wasn't the way that it started. That wasn't my intention when I pulled the cards. But when I pulled the cards, I realized, oh my goodness, okay. So I sealed it. I put it in here. Everything's in here. The cards are in here. My reading, my writing, my write-up on the reading is in here. But I sealed it because I wanted to document it and keep it, but I didn't want to allow that energy to kind of flow. So here it is. That's kind of what I do when I get a really rough reading and there's an idea that it's really going to affect someone. I'm not trying to stop what's happening, but I don't want it to have the openness to allow that energy to flow out there, if that makes any sense to you. And then coming into the very last part of the month, I started working with some Tai Chi because I was feeling, I've been feeling, and I'm not the only one, I've been feeling a little ill at this time, not 100%, a lot of headaches, very tired. And I understand that it's a cosmic thing. I do understand that. But I thought, okay, I love my yoga, but I do incorporate some Tai Chi, but not the actual like forms within the practice. I pull those movements from Tai Chi in because they're beautiful, they're flowy, they're a really great way to move energy in addition to yoga, just adding that element in. So I did attend one of my friend's Tai Chi classes, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful class. And I kind of started working with the 24 form. So there it is, right there. Not that that would ever replace what I'm doing, but I really love integrating different modalities into my practice. So if you ever come to one of my classes, you'll see that it is a pull from a lot of different types of modalities and all blended into one. So here we go, as we're wrapping up into the end of the month and right before we hit a new trecena. And this just felt so alive, so big. It really did feel good. But at the same time, with a different type of energy. So working within that. And then we're into October. So now that we've done all of that, this is the book that I talked about. And this is Incantations Embodied by Kimberly Rodriguez. Kimberly Rodriguez is on Instagram. I had been following her Instagram for quite some time, and I do watch her YouTube channel. She mainly talks about books, but her drawings on Instagram are what really captured my attention to begin with. And then I realized, oh, she's writing a book. Okay, I'm going to keep following her. I'm interested in what she has because these illustrations are hers. And I always thought, wow, they would make fantastic oracle cards. And so I started following her on YouTube and watching her channel there. I really love her practice. I really love how considerate, how she speaks. She's quiet, she's slow, she's thoughtful. I really, really just appreciate it. So when she came out with this book, I went ahead and picked this book up. It had been sitting for a little while, and then I decided I'm going to go ahead and read this book. And this book is such a delight. It really is good. As a matter of fact, I even told my sister, you have to get this book because it deals with the way that we were raised. And it's not that I don't love my mama. I do love my mama. Kimberly loves her mama. But we were born into certain traditions and cultures and the way that our world is shaped and the way that females are guided. You know, it's trained. It's trained ideas and thoughts that are just passed down from one generation to the next. And she addresses that within this book. So it is about, and it says here, rituals for empowerment, reclamation, and resistance. And it is all those things dealing with the idea of being Latina in a very white world. And, you know, where I grew up, it was a challenge. It was a challenge. And being that I really did not speak Spanish because my father didn't want us speaking Spanish, even though my skin color is the way that it is, you know, I'm what they would refer to as pocha. I can't really speak Spanish the way that most of my Mexican family and friends would expect me to. And because of that, you kind of get teased because of that. And then within the other culture, you are Mexican. So it's a little weird to be within that area, that gray area. So she deals with that. And then also because we grew up in a time, it's way different now. It is very different now, but we grew up in a time where you were really trying to be part of society, right? And my father didn't want us to speak Spanish because he didn't want us to have to deal with that part of it. But trying to blend everything together, you know, it was difficult. And so she addresses all of those things. But along with all of that, along with being very open and honest with her specific childhood, and she does speak, like she does write within Spanish within these, but there's always a translation for it. I feel like what she writes in this book would help anybody to reclaim their power and to really find, it says reclamation and resistance. I think it is a wonderful written book. If you are of Latina descent, I think this is a great, great book because the way that she speaks, they're like, each chapter is like a little mini lesson. So it's not long and drawn out, but it's great. And the incantations at the beginning of every single chapter are fantastic. As you can see, I was highlighting, I was typing them within my Google Docs, I was printing some of them out, I was adding them to my journal. Some of these are just so good. I just really, really love what she was doing. And then in each chapter, she walks you through working through one type of feeling or the other, or a situation or the other. And then she gives you time to write, to meditate, to slow down, and to journal your feelings. When I get these type of books, I don't like to journal in the book. It's always outside of the book because I want to come back to these books later. I think that your feelings and what you're experiencing are always different depending on what phase of life that you're in, because you're always getting new information and your experiences form your thinking from one area to the next. It's called wisdom, you know. You grow, you learn, and things change, you know. Sometimes what you thought you knew in the 30s, when you get to your 50s, you're like, wow, that was so messed up. I did not even realize how screwed up that way of thinking was. I mean, it's just a different point of view that you get with time. And so for that reason, books like this, I don't like to write in them, because if I want to come back to this book later, although these incantations are always going to be great, and I'm going to highlight ones that really stand out to me, like I've done throughout this book, I can still go into a new Google Doc at that time and work through some of these questions, whatever it is that's inspiring me to work through this, and see what I'm feeling and thinking at that present time. All right, anywho, really, really good. I really enjoyed this book. So these are my favorite decks that I work with throughout the month of September, and then also anything special. So new moon, full moon, any kind of special date. So here we go. So for the new moon, I worked with the Spacious Tarot. I did not, there has been times lately that I had just not worked with anything else alongside an oracle or a tarot, which really dictates or speaks to a real shift in my practice. Sometimes I really just want to simplify things lately. And this deck really gives you that openness, that space to be, and to kind of feel, even if you're not physically there, if you can place yourself into that situation, if you can close your eyes, if you can meditate, if you can be within that space, if you can feel that elemental energy within the surroundings, within these images. And that's what I love this deck for. I love the images. I love that there are some very simple things going on here, and it really just gives you the opportunity to fall into that. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a busy collage deck as well, and you're going to see that in just a few moments, but there's something about this deck that just makes you calm and gives you the openness and the comfort to take up the space and to be within this space, which I truly appreciate. That's one of my favorite strength cards ever. I love this card. It really speaks to where I'm at. in my place in the world in Arizona, and this beautiful cactus. Anyhow, I could get into that. I'm not going to do that. But this is the deck that I worked with for that new moon to call in those types of intentions and wishes. For the full moon, I worked with these two. This is the Midnight Magic and the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle. Midnight Magic is just, it's a great deal. I think it's a great deal. It's a mass market deck. It's all mushrooms. So you do need to take a little bit of time with it. It does give you the name of the card, the number of the card. It tells you the name of the mushroom and then the Latin name as well. That might not mean anything to you, and that's understandable. It has a good guidebook if you want to tap into that. If you know your basic meanings for the tarot, you can work with that alone and just kind of dive into the images, which I enjoy. However, I am a guidebook lover. I really do like looking at the guidebook and looking at what she has to say about that specific mushroom and how it relates, how that energy relates to that specific card. And I just find these two are such, look at that one. Oh, and this is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I've seen it a couple of times already. And we're talking about, this was in September. I've already seen it a couple times. We're into October already. And I'm going to see it a couple more times because I absolutely adore this movie. I love it. It has drama, it has fun, it has love, it has magic, all of these beautiful ideas and thoughts and issues that you deal with in life. I think it's just a fantastic movie. I love it. Did you hear? Did you hear they're going to make a Practical Magic 2? I am so excited. I don't know if there's a second book on Practical Magic. I know that the movie came from a book. I don't know about the second movie. Is it based on the second book? Do you know? Let me know if you know, because I would love to know. The next thing was Equinox. So for Equinox, this was one of my newer decks here, the Good Fortune Tarot by Barbara Moore with illustrations by Jessica Rue. And then I paired that up with Seasons of the Witch Oracle, or the Mabon Oracle. Guys, this was really, really good together. I know that this is just one of the decks that I share because it was one of my new moon, full moon, or, you know, like special event type decks. So I always like to share those no matter what. But look at the tones, the overall images. This is a little bit different art style wise, but I just feel like the readings that I got from these two were really, really good together. I really love the combination of everything, and it just kind of falls into that autumn tone. It felt very autumnal to me. I really liked it. Even though I'm here in Arizona, and I have to tell you, this is the first day when I'm recording this. This is the first day that we've experienced rain and clouds. This is the first day that it really feels like fall to me. And I am so over the heat at this point. I'm ready. I'm ready. Just cool down the temps. Let me feel some rain. Let me have some sweater weather. You know, we don't ever really get to the point where we're wearing coats out here, but I truly do enjoy putting on my sweatshirts. I have all these seasonal sweatshirts, and I've missed wearing them, so I'm excited to, hopefully these temperatures can stay cool enough where I can wear them again, because I'm over this heat. Since I had the Mabon Oracle out, I thought, hey, wait a minute here. Look at this, guys. This is a hard deck for me to pair up, but there's a deck for every season, rather, with the Seasons of the Witch. I have 3 of them. I have not completed the rest. And I need to just buy one at a time every single month, because this gives the perfect pairing for the Be With Your Body Tarot. I love these two together, especially with the art by this artist here, which is the ones by Diana Luquick. I cannot say her name. I'm so sorry. But by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. Look it, you guys. This has been so hard for me to pair up. And this is one of the decks that I call on all the time. I really love the Be With Your Body Tarot. I love the simplicity of the art. I love the way that the guidebook speaks to your body, to working within your body through the tarot. I think it's brilliant. I really love it. I love the simplicity of it. Again, one of those decks that kind of gives me the space to feel and be within the energy of that card. And then pairing it up with this right here, the Seasons of the Witch, really gave it like a grounding, a focus, and a feeling for the overall season. Loteria Remedios Oracle. Can I tell you how much I love this deck? Every time I work with it, I love it a little bit more. If you think that because you are not from this culture that you won't understand it, I think you need to try it. Maybe go to a metaphysical store that maybe has this deck available, and maybe just try looking at the art and see if it resonates with you, because for me it just opens up so much. I love it. Now, I paired it with the Modern Witch Tarot, and I could not get enough of these two together. The images, look at this. Look at how he's walking, and then you got her over here, and then you got this over here. I love the art styles together. I love the tones together. I think that they work beautifully together. This deck here, the Modern Witch, I think I shared this in another video. Oh, I think in my walkthrough and pairings of the Loteria Remedios deck. This deck right here sits in my bedroom normally. And I take this deck out, the Modern Witch, when I am doing my baths and my limpias in my bathtub, because it's so plasticky, it's so coated. I mean, like, I don't touch it when my hands are dripping, but, you know, I kind of keep a towel nearby, and then I work with the deck when I'm inside the bath. So I kind of keep it over there. But since I've worked with these two together, guess what? I took it out of the bedroom. It's now over here at my desk, and I love these two together. Dreamkeeper's Tarot, which has kind of been sitting off on the side for a little bit, but I love the images. I love how it's really not quite here in the present, but thoughts and ideas that you need to keep in mind, right? The Dreamkeeper's Tarot. So it's on a different level. So I paired that up with the Energy Archaeology deck, and I really enjoyed these two together. I think the softness of the overall art and that kind of haziness that you're looking at within both of them are in a means of speaking to you in another subconscious type of level that is much deeper than our present spot in reality. It digs much deeper. And I really love the energy of these two decks together because, like I said, this really goes into the deeper work. It's really, really good. I really like these two together. So this deck and the Dreamkeepers, they just earned themselves like a whole other little, like, this is a necessary grouping or pairing for me. It's really good together, but this is for deeper work. Some newer decks within my practice. Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic. I have talked kind of my ear off about this deck and the journal, the guidebook. It's a separate book that can be purchased on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. I really, really like this deck. Okay, This one, Magical Spirit Oracle. This is a deck that I've been meaning to get for quite some time, and I just kept thinking, what the heck am I going to pair that deck up with? I had a couple of ideas, but not really sure, and then I finally broke down and I got the deck. I can't remember. I usually try to get myself, I know it sounds weird, I try to get myself a little gift on my son's birthday. I don't think this was one of them. I can't remember. Anywho, I put this with the Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic, and I loved it. I'm going to just put this right up on top for just a moment because I kind of did this out of order and I'm dropping things all over the place. Hold on a second. I also placed it with the Poesis. I love the colors together. And again, a very different feel within the reading. It kind of really shifts. It's amazing when you're pairing up decks because, oh, I'm dropping things here. Because what happens is when you pair up a certain oracle with that tarot, it's like the mood shifts. So you're wearing an outfit, right? And you love this outfit. But all of a sudden, you change, and I'm just speaking because of looking on Instagram. I'm kind of plain when it comes to jewelry and stuff, but I've seen people like change their jewelry or put on a hat or change the lipstick color that they're wearing. And all of a sudden, everything that they have on already looks completely different. It feels completely different. And so I wanted to bring these two out just to show you how much there is a shift within the energy by just replacing that deck. So this is one of the reasons I really enjoy working with like an oracle and a tarot together, because the oracle is so open. It's so willing to allow your intuition to just kind of take you for a ride and move into that energy. I think it's fantastic. But these two together, oh my goodness. Poesis was the first one that I thought, oh, these two will work lovely together. But then I got the magical, what is it? Every Little Thing You Do Is Magic. And I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. I loved this pairing. Another new deck to my collection this month was a Magical Creatures Tarot. And I thought, hey, wait a minute here. Magical creatures, magical spirits oracle. And I tried them together and yeah, they work. It's a very whimsical type of reading that you get from these two together. And that's something that I had not been able to think about a deck that would really work with this one and the Northern Animal Tarot in that manner. And this one fits the bill. It is like, okay, this is the key that opens the door to having an oracle that really pairs up nicely with the magical creatures and the Northern Animal Tarot. I really love these two together. It's whimsy, it's good, it still keeps things very magical, very fairy-like, and it doesn't take you out of that element, which is something that I was really searching for. And this just fit the bill. I hadn't even thought about working with these two together. And then when I purchased this one, I can't remember if I got this one in or this one in first, but anyhow, when I tried these two together, I was like, oh my goodness, the answer is here. I love it. So these two are so good. And this one really does pair up well with a lot of the decks that I have. These two, Pocket of Vines Tarot and Outgrow Yourself. Pocket of Vines Tarot, again, is one of those decks that's maybe a little bit hard to pair up just because of the overall energy of the deck. And I apologize. I know that this is out of print. I have no idea if this one is coming back. Again, remember, I'm just sharing with you the decks that I used and my favorite pairings for the month. So I paired it up with Outgrow Yourself, and I absolutely loved it. It was such a wilding type of feeling and overall energy between the two. There's so much fire that comes out of Pocket of Vines tarot. And it's the same thing with the Outgrow Yourself. It's all about that expansion, that reaching out. These were amazing together. I love that this one has that pop of color. It still has the black background, which correlates to all the black within this deck. But then the beige within the Pocket of Vines, again, gives you that little bit of space. And I don't mind at all the renaming of the cards. I am good with all of it. I have come to terms with the renaming of the suits because I love the deck so much. It is amazing. And again, I'm sorry because I know that it's not available, but it's amazing. If you have something similar to this within your collection and have the Outgrow Yourself, give it a shot because I'm telling you, the fire within this deck and the fire within this one, it's just, they're so creative together. They just really pull in that spark. That is my monthly wrap up for September. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you so very much. From my heart to yours, I will see you later.